Hi, 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 hi. Today I have a very interesting story for you all for this Dandanaka series edition 16. Well, you all know that I love mythology. Did you all know that I am an electrical and electronics engineer by degree, but a professional storyteller by choice. But why am I telling you all this today? Because the story that I'll have to tell you has got all these things inside it. It has got electricity, it has got mythology, it has got beautiful connections to these. Well, the story is from the Kerala state of India. You know what? We were having discussions about dams and power stations and everything else with my children yesterday. So my daughter is in the 10th grade, and I was thinking like, okay, we were talking about electricity, and all this discussion came up, and we were talking about power stations, and it was then uh, we discovered about this underground power station in Kerala. It is in this place called Mulanmattam, and it is supposed to be the largest underground power station. Well, in Kerala, the name Idukki is very synonymous with electricity, because that is where the power stations, the biggest power station is there, and the story is also from that. Now, I will have to tell you where exactly this power station is located, or this dam is located. Well, it is in Idukki, between two hills. The dam is an architectural wonder. It is an arch type of dam that is built between the two hills in the region of Idukki. Now, how was this building of this dam made possible? So, for that, I will have to take you to 1919, 1919, when the Britishers were ruling India, and they were also looking at building a dam across Periyar River, the largest river that flows through the state of Kerala. And there was this place, Malankara Estate. So there's two people from Malankara Estate. I think his name is Thomas. He and the superintendent of that Malankara Estate, they went on a hunting game inside the forest regions of Idukki. Now these people had a very a habit that they used to do whenever they're getting inside the forest areas for hunting or something. They used to take the local tribe along. Now the local tribe in that region, they are the Oorali tribes. Uruli or Oorali, however you want to pronounce it. Now these people were living in that region for a very, 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 very long time, and they knew the place by heart. So every nook and corner of the forest, they just know it so well. So what these people used to do is take these people along, the tribes along with them, so that they could show them where they can spot animals to, have their hunting games. That is what was done. So naturally, the superintendent and the and Mr. Thomas, they both, when they went on this hunting expedition, they called the chief of that tribe. So Columban is his name. So this Columban, along with the two people, he went along inside the forest, showing them the region. So now Columban wanted to show them something very unique. So he took them to this place where these tribes believed were their ancestors, two of their ancestors, in the form of rocks, big, huge rocks. One was about 835 meters in height, and the other was about some 925 meters in height. So when the chief of the tribe took these two people there, they were so spellbound to see the sight, because in between these two rocks was flowing the Periyar River. And when Columban just showed them and told that these two are their ancestors, were supposed to be their ancestors, they were naturally very curious to know what the story behind that was. And that is where my favorite genre in storytelling comes. It is the mythology. and my favorite history, epic, itihasa, whatever you may call it, from the folk, from the tribal lore is also present there. Ramayana. Now we have heard Ramayana in different forms. I mean, people say that there are about 300 different types of Ramayana that exists in this country. And yes, even the tribal folk have their share of Ramayana in their folk culture, tribal folk culture, folklore. So now this Columban said that Rama and Lakshmana were walking along India's, the route to go and find Sita. Sita had been kidnapped by Ravana and Rama was in great distress. Separated by his loving wife, he was in so much deep pain and he was going in search of his wife Sita. The Oorali tribe people believe that Rama and Lakshmana also passed by their wherever they are residing now. And it was then all the tribal people gathered around and welcomed them. And they asked them to stay there for the night. They listened to Rama's sad story and they gave him assurance that everything will be okay. And they wanted to keep their guest very happy and nice. And so they asked to, they called them to have dinner with them, food with them, rest there in the night, and then leave the next morning. Rama was also very happy that these people were, being such lovely people. And as he was sitting there along with Lakshmana, and he was probably asked to go inside a house to, have his food and water, whatever. I said probably because we really don't know what happened there. But then the people believed that when Rama went inside, in that house were a newly wedded couple. The Kuravan, the man, the Kurati, the lady. Now since they were newly wed, they were so much in love and they were always next to each other, very intimate. And people, the Oorali tribes believe that when Rama and Lakshmana entered the house, these two people were so intimate with each other. They forgot to see the guests arriving. Rama, who was already in great grief because he was separated by Sita, looking at this, in a very, very short moment of anger, let out that, "You don't even seem to realize that there is a guest coming here. I curse you both that you will be separated. I curse you two to become rocks." Rama uttering those words? Well, that is what the tribal people believe. You know what? My grandfather always used to tell me, when you keep talking truth continuously for about 12 years, then whatever you say after that will become true. So every time he used to tell me and my siblings that whatever you're speaking, you have to be really, really careful. Choose the words that you speak. Be very careful what words come out of your mouth. You'll never know, is what he used to tell. Now, Rama, a person who has always been living by the dharma in his life, a person who never went away from truth, when he had to utter such words, well, I believe that there are power in words and it could have become true. And that is what happened. Kuravan and Kurati were so scared. They fell at the feet of Rama and said, "Why should you do this to us? We are newly married and we are deeply in love. We can never bear the thought of getting separated. Please don't do this to us." Rama himself was deeply saddened. He just told them in just a moment of anger, I was so deeply in sorrow that I am separated from my wife and I think my human mind just, I don't know, please forgive me. But whatever word had escaped out of my mouth, I cannot take it back. All I can do is bless you too that you will be united in Kali Yuga. And the next day, probably Rama and Lakshmana left. But this Kuravan and Kurati became rocks, very true to the curse that Rama had given to them. And even today, they exist as the Kuravan Mala and Kurati Mala, the Kuravan Hill and the Kurati Hill in the Idukki region in Kerala. Well, what happened when Mr. Thomas listened to this story from the tribal chief? He asked him, "So what yuga is this?" And the tribal chief said, "It is Kali Yuga, sir." And there was a spark that came inside Thomas's mind. It was his idea of constructing a dam there in the Periyar River. And so quickly, the Malankara estate went and did a detailed report of, the possibility of constructing a dam across these two hills. It took them years and years to, understand how to build a dam there. And they say in 1969 is when the construction even began. And in 1972, February 12th, by the then Prime Minister, Srimati Indira Gandhi, the power station was opened and its work started. That is the story of how that beautiful dam, that architecture, the engineering wonder was built there. Well, the Oorali people were also very happy because whatever the myth said, whatever the story that they believed in also came true in Kali Yuga. Kuravan and Kurati were united by the dam, the bridge. So that is the story that I thought I will share with you all today. And you know why this story fascinated me? Because every single thing that we come across has got a story to tell. It is just that we don't open our ears and eyes to see if there is going to be any story with respect to that. What a beautiful story, right? I mean, when we are talking about power stations and dams and everything else, if you can also combine this mythology and make it very interesting for the children, how beautiful it would be. My children were fascinated. And I hope you are fascinated by this story too. Please share if you think this is a nice story to be shared. And like I always tell you, we should always never stop anything that is nice from reaching to others. If you think this is nice, then do share it with your friends and family. Thank you so much for listening to me. This is Lavanya Prasad from Talescope. I will be coming again and telling you another nice story in my Endra Ondra Kada. That is a story session that I do in Tamil for people. Yeah. So thank you so much, people. Thank you for watching. If you have not subscribed to my channel yet, please consider subscribing. I will get back to you soon with another story for another day. Well, Kuravan and Kurati also fascinate me so much, okay? I really love these tribal people who live in harmony with nature. Tahane nane tandanane, tahane nane tandanane, tahane tane tandanane, tahane nane tandanane. See you soon. Bye.